Stars are shining. And there goes Umaga.
That's a big one. Uh-oh. Speaking of big, got a couple of big ones.
We're down to 4. Kane. Kane gonna try to load up.
Whoa, whoa!
An Evolution reunion. Down to 3. It's down to 3.
A big...
Again, Batista, Cena. Who's going to WrestleMania? Oh my gosh! This is absolutely amazing.
I'm getting goosebumps. This is nuts.
Almost 21,000 of our fans on their feet.
Batista has been in here in this match over 40 minutes. Could that be the difference? Over 40 minutes of that man, the animal. Uh-oh. Batista said, come on. No fear, no intimidation. Some psychological warfare here. Here we go! Now some physical warfare. It's every man for himself. Who's going over the top rope? Both feet must touch the floor. The winner goes to WrestleMania in the main event against the champion. Oh!
Yeah, smart Batista. He now seated it, goes right after Triple H. No wasted motion.
Oh man, Batista taking control here. John Cena shocking the WWE world. Returning here tonight at the Royal Rumble. Oh, Batista almost beheads both John Cena and Triple H.
In 2005, Cena and Batista, the last 2 men standing in that Royal Rumble.
Power, velocity, intensity.
Timing, though. Timing by Triple H.
Pedigree, no.
What a counter. Oh, wow. That was really impressive.
Big time spine buster. A liver quivering, spine jarring spine buster. And now Batista measures both Cena and the game.
Yeah, Batista's not rushing into it.
No! But Cena able to counter. Look at this! Oh! And the game then took advantage and eliminates Batista.